Patients Agitya. Now, now I would like to call Archana to speak about the play The Twilight of Crane.
Good day to you all. Today I would like to speak about the drama Twilight of a Crane by Kinoshita. This is a Japanese folklore. Actually, this drama is based on Japanese tradition. And the play begins when a group of children arrive at the isolated land country heart of Jojo, who is a peasant. There are regular visitors because Jojo's wife Zoo will good naturedly play with them and sing. It is the winter season. And as Zoo is not there, children wake Jojo and ask where Zoo has gone. Jojo, who is sleeping at the moment, awakes in angry mood, but he joins children playing when Zoo does return. Jojo lovingly persuades her to join the game singing with the children. Zudo and Unsu are true friends. Zudo knows Jojo, so Ro is from a neighboring village. Zudo asks him, his close associate Unsu, to persuade Jojo to let him broker the fine cloth Zu weaves. Unsu previously has mm, purchased this fine cloth from Jojo. They barge right into the unoccupied house and they only apologize when Zoo finds them. They question her about the fantastic cloth. Could it be the famed Sembauri? But she appears not to be understand but and flutters bird like away. Zuro and Unzu want Jojo to make Zoo weave more clothes, but he has noticed that every time she weaves the cloth, she becomes thinner. They wonder at his luck is getting Zoo as his wife and find that she arrived at the at his door one night and she has been living as wife since then. Sudo recollects to himself a folk tale about a man helping a crane once. The crane became the man in gratitude. He thereby wonders whether this folklore be happening in real life. Zudo points out also the possibility of earning more profits by selling Semba or in Kyoto. Then Jojo is made interested in traveling to Kyoto and earning more money. For this, Jojo should persuade Zoo to weave more cloth, even though he has already promised she would not weave anymore. Because of Jojo's persuasion, and Zoo decided to weave some clothes as she does not like to lose her husband. She reminds Jojo to must never look in on her while she is weaving. During their talk, Zudo and Zonzu have been hiding nearby. They see Zoo has gone to her weaving. Uh, at this moment, Zuro intentionally peeps into the weaving room and neglecting Jojo's protest. He sees a crane waving in place of Zoo. Um, Unzu and then Jojo also peek into the room. Zoo emerged very thin and weak because she has made not one but two beautiful pieces of cloth. She knows her husband has broken the no look promise. She tells him she has lost most of her feathers and now has got only a few feathers to fly back. She asks him to keep one piece of cloth because she has made it for him with her heart as a symbol of true love, but not to gain material benefits. Zoo disappears from the stage just as children comes once going to play. One of them sees a crane flying away in the distance. This is the summary of this drama. Now we will see the themes of this play. And the first theme is deep love and mutual trust. Deep love and mutual trust is one of the main themes conveyed in the play Twilight of a Crane. This theme is expressed through the two characters, Jojo and Zoo. Jojo is depicted as a simple peasant in the village. Zoo joins Jojo's life as a gratitude of his kindness and humanity. When Jojo was working in the field, a crane came down with an arrow stuck in its back. You were once so innocent and kind that you could take an arrow out of my back solely through tender heartedness and only out of my sympathy for me. I was deeply touched by it. Then he pulled the arrow out of its back and served its life. According to the story, the crane was Sue. Therefore, Sue would have thought that she would not be able to show her gratitude and love towards Jojo being a crane. That was why she decided to take the human form and live with Jojo. One of the most vital aspects of deep love is care for each other. Therefore, Jojo always looked after Zoo and attended her needs. Oh dear, I almost forget. Cold soup is no good for my sweetheart. Just going to warm up some soup for you. It's no good unless it's hot. When Jojo was very attentive and sensitive to the needs of his wife, Sue also got ready to prepare him supper. I will make supper for you. Thus, this also can be interpreted as reciprocated love. Another aspect of deep love is sacrifice or the strong commitment to each other. The most important sacrifice made by the zoo was giving up her bird identity, which is full of naturalness, freedom, less responsibilities, and so on. On the contrary, she embarrassed the human world, which is full of hypocrisy, competition, pretense, callousness, and so on. Sue also sacrificed her beauty with weight and shape for the sake of her husband's happiness. She wore her first clothes as Zambaori by plucking her own feathers. I wore that cloth only to show you its beauty. I was glad to see you appreciated it joyfully, for you pleasure the sake of your joy. Later, when Jojo forced her to weave another cloth due to the persuasion of Zoro and Unsu, she decided to weave the cloth in spite of her losing weight. That was because she wanted to make her husband happy and fulfill his aspirations. Zu had a strong yearning to live with Jojo forever. This shows the deep love and mutual love between each other. I I want to see, I will take short look. May I zoo or heavens? There is only a crane. Jojo really lost his beloved wife because he could not maintain his promise due to the outside evil human forces. However, love without mutual trust loses its purity and it really becomes a paralyzed love. Having understood and this reality, Zoo decided to go back to the old sky as she can no longer live with a human shape. If she lived in the human world, furthermore, she would have either human form or nor crane form. Actually, she sacrificed everything from her bird life by weaving Sembaori. Anyways, it should be highly appreciated that she left Jojo without any heart hatred or gratitude. She is left mainly for the benefit of humans who have their own value system, which is different from natural world. And the other theme is um, greediness for money. Thus, it is clear that money and greed is a universal theme discussed in many poems or dramas. This can be further defined as materialism, which brings in its way tension and unhappiness. In the play, Jojo and Zoo had a very simple lifestyle. Zoo let her husband sell a cloth woven by her in order to fulfill their simple needs. Unzu, who was a villager, acted as a broker to sell the cloth at $10. This seems to be a simple transaction of money as buying and selling, but Zudo, who is a villager from another village, wanted to gain more profits by selling in it in Kyoto. His desires were really based on selfish motives. When she was obsessed with greed, she lost even morality, self discipline, dignity, friendly talking, and so on. He called his friend also with abusive words like wretched thief, low fellow, shivering coward, bastard, etc. When he was crazy in breed of the cloth woven by Zoo, cursed wretched thief by Unsu, if it is really a Sembaori, we must be worth a lot more than $100. Just I dislike you, I don't like you, I'm not fond of you, you are a cross woman. Weave the cloth, if you say you can't, I will leave you. Thus, the love of money uh, destroys his love for Zoo. His heart full of love and happiness, filled with tears of weeping and fears of quarreling. God vanished and devil invaded the heart. Um, he further said, when money becomes an idol, it rules over a person's choice, and then it drains a person and condemns him and turning him into a slave. Mm, I ask you, I plead with you for mercy's sake, please stop pulling my Jojo away. She further questioned her husband Jojo, are you eager to get money? Are you so eager to go to Kato? You are not as fond as me of money, are you? You are not as fond as me as money, are you? Um, Jojo also break promises given to his wife, being a slave of money and greed. When Sue asked it after weaving the to clothes sacrifice as her weight and physical strength, he could not find a suitable answer for the question. This shows the greediness for money. Actually, this destroys the human life, and this is called as able because it rains the humans tolerance, love, happiness, and etc. So we must go behind the money and live happily. Thank you.
Thank you, Archana, for your wonderful presentation. Now, I would like to call Banian to talk about the poem The Bird Came Down to the Walk. Let's give the side to Banian.
Good evening, everyone. Today I am going to present about the nature poem called "A Bird Came Down the Walk." And the poem "The Bird Came Down the Walk" was written by the famous American poet Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson was a poet who lived in 18th century. So that during that period in America, the poets mainly focus on nature, that in order to release the stress and the family problems of them, so that this poet is who is also a gardener in his home. Usually in that period, people do gardening in order to release their stress and mental problems, so that this poet also, who seemed to be a very clever gardener, so that after his death he was also known as a gardener for many people. But after his death, his secret poems were published by his sister, uh, and then this precious poem called "Bird Came Down the Walk" was released in that period. So the title of this poem suggests that This poem is also a nature poem that it contains a natural element called a bird. Uh, the bird is a unique character in this poem that the poet mainly focused on the motions and the behavior patterns of the bird which came down to the public place. At the starting of the poem, the poet says that a bird came down the walk. The bird is personified here that the poet doesn't say that it flied down to the walk, it came down to the walk. Usually, the diction came usually refer to the human beings, so that the bird is also personified here. As he came down to the park where the narrator is sitting in the bench, so that the narrator in the first person narrative, this poem begins as we can see that the diction I is used in many cases, so that this poem also a first person narrative. So the narrator uses a first person narrative because that uh, in order to release everything that in his mind, and in order to get a better understanding about that um, among the readers, so that in the second line he did not know I saw. So in reality he seems that the bird doesn't care about him, and doesn't know the narrator is watching him, so that even though the narrator tells that he doesn't know I saw, we know that birds are the very cunning and the clever animals among and mm, the nature, so that even though the narrator tells that the bird doesn't saw him, we can identify that the bird can already see the narrator, and it seemed to be doesn't show the narrator actions, but it shows the cunningness and the cleverness of the birds. But in the third line, he says that he bit an angleworm in half. It is a very important line that he bit an angleworm in half only, so that it indicates that the bird only eats its needs and doesn't take extra for his needs and serve the properties for the future purposes as humans. So in third line, it contrasts the natural world and the human world. Bird is who seem to be a representative of nature. Tells that nature, the natural element bird only takes his necessity and takes only for his necessity and ate the fellow row. Nowadays, people seem to be very table mannered and food mannered, so that they eat foods cooked and uh, with several ingredients, so that in order to make that food tasty, they uses many ingredients. So that they seem to be having many diseases, so that the nature in the early ages human ate the food raw, the nature control over the world, uh, including humans. But nowadays, due to the modernization and the mechanization, the world is totally corrupted and polluted, so that people doesn't care about nature, and they cook their foods, and they doesn't eat foods raw. So it's to in order to say the truth, the narrator says that he ate the fellow raw. Fellow is a metaphor that it indicates that the angle worm above that. So the angle worm is also personified here, as the fellow is a diction used for a person. So that at the first starting stanza, it clearly indicates that the bird uh, eats the worm in half, so it only eats its necessity. In other ways, the angleworm is also element of nature, but the bird as a predator eat the angleworm as a prey, so that it indicates the nature's food chain as bird is a predator and the angleworm is a prey. So that in other ways, he ate the willow horse should be another reasons, because in the fast or the quickness or the swiftness of the bird is indicated, because uh, even the bird is here a predator, but other huge animals or other uh, ferocious predator can harm the bird as he is in a public place, so that even human beings can harm the bird and hunt the bird as a predator, so that in order to get avoid from that, he can eat the angleworm in halves. Uh, so that is also a idea in my point of view. In the second stanza, and then he drank a dew. First he satisfied his food, and then he started to satisfy his another need called water. He drank a dew from a convenient grass. He used human beings drink water from a glass, so that the grass is a metaphor which is used for conveying the glass, so that bird drank a dew from a convenient grass, so that it indicates that he only takes this necessity from the convenient place. uh, this indicates human also should take the water or his other necessity from a convenient places. So then he hopped sideward to the wall and to let a beetle pass. It is more irony that the beetle is also a prey to the bird, but it hopped sideways to uh, uh, make a path to the beetle to pass. But it indicates that the bird is already satisfy its food, so that it doesn't eat the beetle in advance, so that but even some people are like nature and attached to nature, as they only satisfied with necessity, and the above necessity they won't take it. So some people gives charity to other people's in order to get avoid of this servingness, so that it indicates us a moral that charity begins as home. uh, that people gives the extra elements of them to the others, so that he doesn't eat the beetle and let the beetle pass away, so that the nature's habit is exertively stayed in this stanza. In the third stanza, he glanced with rapid eyes. Before that, in the first stanza, he did not know I saw. Uh, the narrator thinks that he doesn't saw also. So he glanced with rapid eyes, said that he, in order to avoid from danger from the predator, he glanced the rapid eyes in order to get ready to fly away. That hurried all abroad, so that the narrator says that it looked like frightened beats. The simile indicates that the birds seem to be afraid of the predators, even though the bird is a predator of angleworm. Uh, bird can be also a prey to other predators. So it shows the nature's phenomenon and the food chain of nature. I the caesura in the third line of the sentence says that the he looked like frightened beast is exaggerated in this poem, as this caesura usually stops us the readers in that point, so that readers should carefully read that uh, line in order to get a better understanding. I thought it's he shaved his velvet head. The velvet is a very precious element in the nature, so that the head is metaphorically said as a velvet. It exaggerated the bird's appearance as well. In the fourth line, it indicates the danger in the bird and nature. Uh, like on in danger, caution, I offered him a crumb. But crumb is a human-made food. So in the fourth stanza, the narrator wants to tell that the connection between human and nature, but nature doesn't accept human in the contemporary society. That is emphasized in the first stanza, as the bird doesn't accept the food of the narrator who give him a crumb, so that he offered him a crumb, but he unrolled his feathered and robbed to home. So the hopeless waiting for the narrator is very sympathetic, that the narrator would think that he can see the beautiful scenery that the bird is eating a crumb, but the whole uh, thing and mind is disappointed here, as he's refused to eat the crumb of the narrator. It indicates that human uh, humans nature doesn't care about humans, um, as human doesn't care about nature, so that the nature also doesn't care about nature, so that we should save the nature perfectly, so that the nature would also help in return. Then Oz divines the ocean. In the last stanza, the narrator tells about everything, the nature's phenomenons, and the beautiness and colorfulness are emphasized in the first stanza. Then the Oz divines the sea. The flying nature and the movement of the bird to his home in the evening is uh, portrayed in the post stanza, as os divines that os means board. It is very important to draw a board with the oars, like oars goes into the sea like waves, so that the oars the boat should have a hose to in order to get very fast into the sea, and or in a ocean or something like lake. So the bird fly on in the sky is like a hose in the water, so that and the even though the boat is made by human, and the bird flying on the sky is natural. So the first this line shows us the contrast between the human world and the nature world. Two silver for a seam, O butterflies of banks of noon, leave flashless as they sing. And then he started to express the butterflies under the banks of the noon. But splashes mean we could think that butterflies can't swim in the banks, but mm, the narrator want to tell us that the butterflies, without touching the banks of the noon, with splashes, as the wings swim very fastly, the water will splash out like it is very hyperbolically says that the water will automatically splash out due to the fastness of the butterflies. So that in the first stanza, the narrator wants to tell us very vividly, says a visual imagery in the first stanza to the readers about the beauty of nature. Mm. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Banian, for your wonderful presentation. Now, I would like to call Taranika to speak about the poem To the Evening Star by William Blake.
Good evening to you all. I'm going to present about the poem To the Evening Star. It was written by William Blake, who lived in Romantic era. He was born on 28 November 1757 in London. He was an English poet, painter, and printmaker. He wrote many English poems. In these poems, the Evening Star is a very important poem. To the Evening Star is an ode to Venus. According to the Greek mythology, Venus is considered to be the goddess of love, beauty, and fertility. We all know Venus is the second planet of our solar system and the sister of the Earth planet. Um, to the Evening Star poem is a sonnet by the Romantic poet. Sonnet means the poem which have 14 lines. Here the word two indicates the narrator speaking to the evening star for protect them from the evils of night and any other problems. Now we look at this poem summary. Uh, Here the narrator describes the eagle as an angel because the narrator thinks the angel is protects everyone. So the evening star also protects the nocturnal beauty of nature. Uh, when the sun rests on the mountains, the star will appear in the sky and give brightness for them. The poet requests the star to uh, put on her radiant crown and smile on their evening bed. And also he requests the star to smile on their loves. The poet says the evening star draws the blue curtains of the sky. Uh, and when the flowers shut their eyes in timely sleep, the Venus blesses them with her silvery dew. The poet requests the star to let her swine sleep on the lake. Then the poet says the star to speak with her glimmering eyes. Um, the evening star will disappear in the sky very soon. So then the wolf and the lion come from the dun forest. So finally, the poet requests the star to protect their fleeces of flocks with her influence. Now we look at this poem line by line. In this first line, thou is the word thou means you. In this word thou, all the letters are capital. So we call this is capitalization. Here the praise fair-haired angel source. The narrator describes the angel as an Venus as an angel. We call this technique is apostrophe. And the narrator gives feminine characteristics to the evening star. Here the word evening generously symbolizes the problems. Now we look at the second line. In the second line, the word now reminds the reader about the significant function of the time, which prevails in the poem. The narrator says the sun is resting on the mountains. We know sun is the inanimate object, but the narrator gives human characteristics for the sun. So we call this technique is personification. Personification is a literary device that refers to the projection of human characteristics onto inanimate and objects in order. Um, Here, the light is a verb which is expected to be fulfilled by the Venus. Now we look at the third line. In this third line, the word Thai means your. The poet requests a star to bring a lightness for them. Here, the punctuation mark is middle in this line. So we call this is Kashura. Now we look at the fourth line. In this fourth line, that we already talk about this, that Venus is compared with the angel. So we all know angel put radiant crown. So the narrator says Venus also put her radiant crown and smiling on their evening bed. Evening in here, the evening indicates the problems and bed indicates the world. So the evening bed means the world which is fulfilled by the problems. Now we look at the next line. Um, Here the smile is a repetition which is emphasizes the narrator's demand for the blessings of goddess. Um, the poet requests a star to smile on their loves. Here the word while is emphasizes the urgency which prevails in the poem, and the drovers is the personification in this poem. Mm. Now we look at the next slide. The narrator says the evening star draws the blue curtain of sky. Uh, it means the sky looks like blue curtains. On one hand, silver dew can be indicated as a holy water, and the other hand, silver is gray color indicates the sadness. Now we look at the next line. There are two personification and in this line there are shuts and eyes. When the flowers shut their eyes in timely sleep, the evening star blesses them with her silvery dew. Here the timely sleep is another symbol of the death, and the wine slip also the another way to avoiding the idea for death. Now we look at the next line. The narrator says to the evening star to speak with her glimmering eyes, and also the he and also was the dusk with a silvery dew. Here the dusk means the night problems such as evils and animal problems. Here the soon is a repetition which emphasizes the agency. The evening star is going to disappear in the night sky very soon. Then the wolf rage and the lion glare comes from the dun forest. Here the wolf rage is a gray predator which indicates the darkness of the forest, and the gold shining lion indicates the lightness of the forest. Uh, the poet finally requests the star to protect their places of flux uh, with her sacred dew, and gives her highly influence. Here the sheep is a metaphor which is a Christian crowd. Finally, I would like to say this poem mainly written by William Blake for protect the people from the night. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.